Hello friends, welcome back. Today we're doing our last Redux challenge, copy an object with Object.assign. The last several challenges worked with arrays, but there are ways to help enforce state immutability with state in an object too. A useful tool for handling objects is the Object.assign utility. Object.assign takes a target object and source objects and maps properties from the source objects to the target object. Any matching properties are overwritten by properties in the source objects. This behavior is commonly used to make shallow copies of objects by passing an empty object as a first argument followed by the objects you want to copy. Here's an example. So we have a new object, Object.assign, so we're passing in an empty object, and then we're saying object1 and object2. So this creates a new object as a new object which contains the properties that currently exist in object1 and 2. So think of this as making a copy of an object in which you can copy multiple things. The Redux state and actions were modified to handle an object for the state. The Redux state and actions were modified to handle an object for the state. So we've got our default state here, which has a user, status, friends, and community. We have a reducer here, modified object state. The reducer, which has a switch, it takes actions with we have the default state set here, but then we also can take actions, and it reacts to types of actions with the type of wake up. So wake up has this type here, and then here we're just creating the Redux store. Okay, so we don't want to mutate the state here or the test will fail. Got it. To handle the Redux states, edit the code to return a new state object for the actions with the type online, which set the status property to the string online. So we want to set the status, where status is offline right now, and we want to set the status online. So we could say var new state, and we set this equal to a Object.assign, and in here we'll pass in an empty object, and then what we want to do is say, well, now we want to add everything that's in the default state. And we also want to add something that's new, which we could say status is equal to the action dot type, right? So that would mean we're getting type online. And so because we're passing in our action, which is wake up renders to the action to be a type online. So if we say action.type and we say status, yeah, this will probably work. And then we want to make sure that we return the new state. Let's see if that works. Okay. Let's spread this out so it's easier to read. Object.assign, and then you can just lower these down like this. Okay, so dispatching an action of type online should update the property status in the state to online. The status to online. Action.type is online. Oh, it's all uppercase. So we want to make this lowercase? Is that right? Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, that's how we're doing it. Okay, so I'm just going to go over this real quick. We have a constant of a default state. And here we have it's an object with 1, 2, 3, 4 key value pairs in it with user, status, friends, and community, and each one of those have a corresponding string. Then we have an immutable reducer in which we pass in a state with a default value for the default state. So this is like our default state. And this one also takes an action. In here we have a switch statement which asks if the action.type is online or if it's nothing else. And then if it is online, then we create a new object in which we duplicate the state, and then we overwrite the status with online. And then we return the state. Another way that we could write this is we could just simply not save it to a variable and just return it like this. This would pass the tests as well. Yeah. We could make it a single line type thing like this, if you were into that kind of thing. Yeah, I think that this is the best way to do it. It's important. For some reason, it wants the underscore online here. Here's the action type. So that's how we get, when we say action.type, we get online. In the case that it's online, we return a duplicate object where we've replaced the state to online. And then we create the Redux store, and then we have Redux store actions. So if we were to console.log store.getState, we would see that we've got our offline one. And now if we were to go store.dispatch, and we were to dispatch the wake up function, then we were to console.log the store.getState, we would see that we have changed our status from offline to online. But if we were to console log the default state, we would see that the default state still hasn't changed. It's still offline. We can get rid of this now. So now what we're looking at is just this get state after we have done the wake up dispatch on the store. So it has online, but the default state has not changed because we're just simply changing the state of the object. With these things in here, I don't think the test will pass because they alter the state of the store, which is what the tests are testing. And there we go, 100% on Redux. It appears we're complete with that project. If I go to learn, we scroll down, Redux is done. That's 17 Redux ones. In the next section, we're going to be combining the React and the Redux, which is a pretty powerful tool. And then afterwards, we'll be moving on to the front-end library projects, which is pretty cool. These are some of my favorite projects because you're finally really developing web applications for the first time. So congratulations wrapping up the Redux, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next lesson.